Once upon a time, in a village called Iseyin, lived a girl called Ola. Ola was a warrior who fought and defeated the strongest of men in the land. Ola was the king's personal guard, tasked with the responsibility of protecting the king from his enemies. Ola did not have a family as she grew up with her father who died 3 years ago. There have been rumors about where Ola and her father came from, as her father never disclosed their origin to anyone. Ola and her father moved to Iseyin when she was just 5 years old, and Ola never knew who her mother was. Her father never spoke about her, and Ola gave up asking as all her efforts to know fell on deaf ears. Is my mother dead or alive? Ola thought to herself, as she didn't have an answer to this question. Even her father's death made things worse, as Ola had no way of finding out about her mother now. One day, Ola was accompanying the king to a council meeting in a neighboring village, and on their way they came across a very old woman who was being robbed of her belongings. Her screams caught the attention of the king, who granted Ola the permission to save the woman. Ola quickly jumped in to save her, and as the men saw Ola, they fled as fast as they could. The old woman was so grateful, and with tears in her eyes, she thanked Ola for saving her. As Ola was about to head back to the king, the old woman dropped a strange coin in Ola's hand and told her, "When the time comes, speak into the coin, because there lies your answer." Ola was so confused, but she hurriedly went back to the king and they continued their journey. After the meeting, they returned back to Iseyin, and at nightfall, when Ola was asleep, she saw a yellow light in the distance. She tried to approach the light in her dream, but the more she moved towards the light, the farther the light went. And suddenly she woke up. She was so confused about what she saw and didn't have anyone to share it with, so she kept it to herself and kept pondering about what this dream meant. In the morning, whilst Ola was taking her bath in the village stream, she saw 2 beautiful women at the river bank. They were so beautiful. Ola waited for them to speak as they were staring at her, but they said nothing. So she spoke to them saying, "Hello, can I help you? Are you from this village?" But they didn't utter a word, but rather bowed down to Ola and smiled. This made Ola confused as she wondered, who are these people and why are they acting this way? Ola rushed to finish up her bath so she could approach them, but by the time she looked up again, they were nowhere to be found. "This is strange," she said, as she hurriedly came out from the stream searching for them. "They couldn't have gone far," said Ola, as she followed the path leading out of the stream to catch up with them. When she saw no one, she was scared and rushed back to the palace. On getting to the palace, Ola rushed to her hut to look for the coin the old woman gave her the other day. She looked closely at the coin, and immediately she saw 2 ladies standing in front of her hut. She looked up to see who they were, and immediately she recognized them. They were the 2 ladies she just saw by the river bank. They bowed at her once more, and Ola begged for them not to leave, that she wanted to speak to them. Ola asked them, "Why have you been appearing to me?" And they smiled, bowed again, and disappeared. Ola was so disappointed, and immediately she heard commotion in the palace. She ran out as fast as she could from her hut to the palace in search of the king. 2 men with knives had held the king hostage, and immediately Ola recognized the men as 2 men who she had defeated in one of her neighboring village fights. She asked them what their mission was and why they were having her king. The men laughed and said they were here to conquer the most feared king. On hearing this, Ola laughed as well, and as she was about to approach them, they blew a powder to her face. This powder was prepared for them by the most powerful medicine man in their village, and it was to make Ola weak so that the men could be able to defeat her. Immediately they blew the powder on Ola's face. They were shocked that nothing happened to Ola. Rather, the men began to fight themselves. Ola was shocked too, as she had never experienced such before in her life. She ran to secure the king and immediately escorted him to his safe room. Then the other king's guards apprehended the men and locked them away. Everyone began to talk about what happened in the village square because it was so strange, and Ola too was beginning to get worried. The bright light she saw in her dream, the old woman that gave her a coin, The two mysterious women? Wow, she was so confused but did not know what all this meant. She went to her table and picked up the coin again, and immediately the two beautiful men appeared to her once more and bowed to her. This is the third time, remember. Ola did not know what to do, as she wanted answers and did not want the women to disappear again. Then immediately, Ola remembered that the old woman had told her to speak into the coin, that there lies her answer. So Ola spoke into the coin and asked the coin, "Who are you and what do you want from me?" Immediately, a white light shone in her room and she saw a very beautiful woman. She was the most beautiful woman Ola had ever seen. Her skin was glowing and everything about her was perfect. As she appeared, the two women bowed to her and said, "All hail the queen." Ola was scared and she ran to a corner of her hut. The woman said to her, "Do not be afraid, we are not here to harm you." Ola was still shaken by her presence, and the woman began to tell Ola a story, and she said, "I was once a girl that lived with my mother and father in the land of Olori. I was a very hardworking girl, and we all lived in peace until one fateful day when some villagers surrounded our house and burnt it down. My mother and father died in the fire, and I managed to survive, and they started chasing after me. As I was running in the forest, it was late at night, and I could hardly see, but I kept going till I saw a woman, an old woman, sitting by a small hut. So I ran to her and begged her for refuge. She was the famous snake woman that lived in the forest. I had only heard of her in stories and never knew she was real. She hid me in her hut, and when the villagers came after me, she made sure they could not find me. They searched and searched and searched, but could not find me. When they left, the woman came to me and I thanked her for saving me, and immediately I swore my allegiance to her. She then told me that the journey of my life would be so long and tough as well, that she would give me a power that will help me survive. She brought out a small clay pot and told me to drink the contents. I drank it and immediately I turned into a snake. From that day, I could only be in human form during the day and a snake at night. So one night, whilst in snake form, I saw a very handsome man. He was so perfect and I had never seen anyone that made me feel so happy. He did not see me because I was a snake. So during the day when I had turned back to a woman, I went in search of him. He was the son of the king of Okolo. His name was Adeyemi. When he saw me, he fell in love with me instantly. I do not blame him because I am a beauty to behold. So we began a relationship, and it was difficult because I could only see him during the day and never at night time. He never suspected a thing until I got pregnant. He told his father, the king, that he wanted to get married to me, but his father refused as there were plans for him to get married to the daughter of the king of Dawodu village. He kicked against it, and when they found out that I was already pregnant for him, they came after me, but I was able to handle myself because I had my powers. I gave birth to my baby and the royal family refused to accept the child or myself and was planning to kill my child as they believed that was the only thing holding Adeyemi back from marrying the princess of Dawodu village. Adeyemi got hold of this information and decided that we would leave the village to settle somewhere else at nightfall. I agreed, of course, but as you should know by now, I can only be human during the day. So when night came, Adeyemi could not find me anywhere. He waited and had to leave without me before sunlight. I was in the room, but he could not see me. I was a snake. I tried following him, but I could not keep up with his pace, and I lost him in the forest. I searched for my child everywhere until I got information that she was in Iseyin. The woman that gave you the coin was the snake woman. She recognized you immediately she saw you because of the mark on your hand. That was why she gave you the coin. You are my daughter I have been looking for, and you got your strength from my supernatural powers. The light you saw in your dream was me trying to reveal myself to you, but because it was night time, you could only see me as a light. Even the day that the king was attacked, I caused the confusion between the men. I am the snake queen, your mother, and the two ladies behind you are my maidens, sent to watch over you. Ola was speechless. as she never imagined that she would ever meet her mother. And now everything started to make sense to her, as she always knew that her strength was not ordinary. Ola was so happy and ran to hug her mother, even if she was also filled with fear. Her mother promised her that no harm will ever come to her, as she will always watch over her. Although Ola could not turn into a snake like her mother, she had extraordinary strength. This is the end of the story. Please like and subscribe. It helps to grow our channel. Thanks for watching and see you in our next story.